39-28, Tusculum wins over the Regent University Royals here tonight, who are on their little Thanksgiving swing. They'll play Bob Jones University tomorrow night before taking on Eastern Mennonite University on Monday night before returning home. Virginia Beach, Virginia, a long place to come from, obviously, on this trek. But, again, we talked about there at the end of the game, gorgeous campus, and their vision is more important than playing the game of basketball for sure. But good to see them come out and compete. Good to see a Pioneer team come out and compete. We're joined by Pioneer coach Meagan Price. You always wonder coming into these types of games, what will the attitude, the focus of your team be? I thought it was pretty evident in the first quarter. Our folk, we were razor sharp early.
Yeah, it's one thing about this group is we haven't had an issue on game day. Like, they're ready to go. And so I think just that ability to not have to practice and get to compete again is always like a good reward, and it's fun for them. Yeah. And so, just it's great, too, to dip all the way into the bench and everybody get to play and have those big minutes. And so it's just fun to watch.
All right, now we were razor sharp early. We didn't shoot the ball very well.
We really didn't.
I think we were working. I think the group was looking for some things. They stayed in that 2-3 zone. It opened up our outside, so we had a bunch of open looks, and you want them to take the open looks, but we didn't get the paint touches, I think, in that first half that you like.
Yeah, that's the one thing I say, because I thought we were just literally passing it around the three, and we weren't running anything that we run. And for us, like even just looking to that high post or like a short corner or something like that, and we weren't getting any type of paint touch. And so, that was one thing we emphasized in the second half is just trying to get it in the paint more and not just living and dying by the three just because you can doesn't mean you should, you know. And so that's kind of where we're at too, because it's not like in a game like this you just want to stand out. I mean, we shot 54 threes tonight. I don't want to do that ever again in a game. So, but we'll take it.
You made 21 of them.
Yeah, that's great.
One shy of a school record, and we'll talk a little bit more about school records coming up. But, you got 8. You more than doubled them up in shots attempted here today because you attacked the glass so well and got yourself second chance opportunities.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. That's one thing that we've been emphasizing too all year long, and we have rebounders. I think we have probably 3 of the best rebounders in the conference between John D and Maya. And so that's been a huge emphasis for us, is just making sure that we still clean up the glass and get those second chance points, and that's going to be big for us all year long.
School record 67 rebounds
that's
here
awesome.
Tonight. It is awesome. 29 offensive rebounds as well to go in with that, with Tham getting 18 boards, one shy of her career best. Dee Shermont a double-double, a 19.10 rebound game. And, if it bogs down offensively, Dee's going to knock down that 12-foot baseline jumper every time.
It's never a miss. It doesn't matter if it's the baseline, the free throw line, that is her shot. And so that's one thing we've talked about too, is I think our group sometimes is almost unselfish when it comes to like they'll be wide open and it's but I'm trying to do the next step in whatever we're doing, and I'm like, just shoot the freaking basketball, you're open. So yeah, you're right on that. I was proud of Dee. I thought she played really great tonight.
Yeah, Dee does not have a problem shooting the basketball.
She does not. She is one that does not have a problem.
It's my ball. Okay, I'll take it. And then another thing you wanted to work on the press. There were things that you really wanted to work on. You got a chance to see it real early. I mean, you shut them out in that first quarter. So that's one thing, and then Dee and Tham on the floor at the same time is another thing you really wanted to work on and get that. They still ran into each other a couple of times.
Yeah,
but I think it got better.
Yeah, it got better as time went on, but we're gonna have to work on that because they both love to run the floor, and that's where we were saying we're having a little bit of trouble. Just figuring out, and we haven't worked, we really haven't worked on it at all, but just like where do we want them when they are running the floor, because they both can't just run the middle of the paint. Yeah. And so, if somebody needs to peel out, we just need to figure out who that needs to be, and then the other person run the floor and us slow into our offense better. And I think we'll get there. Another thing, too, which we didn't do tonight, we can always peel into it and run a set, but it's just – them learning kind of, I wanted to throw them out there even in this environment and against the zone, because it's like just learning to play together in case we have that situation happen again like we did at the end of North Georgia.
Another thing you wanted to look tonight, use the bench and not have the drop-off. And, let's talk about some of the kids that came in, especially, and I called her Natalie for, all of last year for whatever. It's Natalia Crook. I was impressed with what Myers was able to give us. Avery Price was very solid and shooting the three, as well. Lindsay and Wilson come in there late. Delana, we talk about her, and that's a typical Delana line, to be honest with you. 14 minutes, it gives you 4 assists, but she's going to get you some dirty work as well in there in the game. The kids you went with to start that second half shot the ball better. We took better shots, I think, and we got more paint touches. And then that group that I just mentioned, Kallenberg, involved with that as well. came in and you didn't drop. Actually, they may have played better
Yeah.
than that group to start the
Yeah,
second
I
half.
will say, I thought ball movement got better too in that second half, and that's one thing, you don't want to get stagnant in a game like this, and we get caught so many times staring and not seeing that extra pass until it's too late, or maybe not always making that extra pass and settling for a contested three. And so that's one thing that we've been harping on from day one, and we wanted to get better at tonight. So I thought second half we really did a great job adjusting to that.
You're going to play a team that you are, head and shoulders better than, and you want to be almost flawless. Just 6 turnovers. You really didn't give them opportunities. I think a couple of them were just some silly things, maybe even one offensive foul for that. And you shared the basketball 34. I mean, everything that I look on here
it's great.
is incredible.
Yeah.
The numbers are really high. So if you go in just looking at the numbers, you got to feel you're feeling really good about yourself. I think you'll go back and look in that first half and say, we got to be a little bit better.
Yeah, just more crisp with stuff.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard in a game like this. And I'm glad that we scheduled it, because I think our first home game at home, and we do have some freshmen that are playing that may get some big minutes this year.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of, allows for that. Sophie looked at me before the game and was like, I don't know why I feel a little nervous. And I was like, you've been playing here for 3 years, So, but it's good. I forget those things as a coach, and it's just, for us, it's natural. But like to them, that is, you do have it. We had a great crowd tonight, I thought.
Yeah, it was
and
great.
so just to have that crowd and then them be able to play in front of a crowd and kind of get those jitters out for the first home game, I think will be great, before we get into our next home game against Lander.
All right, so the next home game is in a couple of weeks, really, and then you have this kind of week off, this little bit of time off, and then you go participate in the Young Harris Classic down there in North Georgia once again. So what do you do, through the Thanksgiving holiday before next weekend?
Well, I told them we had to come in tomorrow because we haven't been good with 2 days off yet. And so we're coming in tomorrow morning. We're going to get some work on offense and then give them Sunday off. We'll come back Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to let them go home Wednesday and be with their families, and then we'll come back Thursday late. We have some parents, which is awesome, that want to feed us Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to, get somewhere here and then bring that in. And then, we'll go Thursday, Friday, and then we'll be ready to roll on Saturday.
It looks like fun, I think, down there in Young Harris as well. Again, another good challenge. I think you've challenged yourself, with, I think, the right things. But there's now so key. It was funny you said off air before this thing, every region game we play now it's almost March Madness here in November already because of your schedule.
It is, and those region games are that's the number one thing I got told when I got here. Like, those region games are so important. But they are, because wherever you finish in our conference and who's won those games early on, that's going to be important if somebody does get a bid in that top 4, to the national tournament. Like Anderson makes that run last year and gets to the championship, but then doesn't make it or get the bid because they got beat early on in those regional games. And so that's something I've really been pumping into our team, that this is not just like a next game and a next game mentality where you just kind of go into it like, well, they're not in our conference. Like, no, because it is March Madness, and then we go into conference, So that's kind of the approach that we've been taking this year, just to take those. And I think our group has done a great job of taking those games serious. And so I'm actually excited about that too. And we do have a lot of experience in terms of older people. I mean, we're playing, we have 22-year-olds out there, leading our group. And so that helps so much. And it's just, for us, that focus for them has been great going into those games.
Good win tonight. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
She's Pioneer coach Meagan Price. The Pioneers knock off Regent University by a final score of 109-28. Yeah, my bad. I get
That'll
back
be great on the. No, I'll love to see that
Yeah.
later. That might be a blooper we put on Instagram.
I'm Brian Staten. She's Meagan Price. Officially. Pioneer basketball continues after this on the Pioneer Sports Network.